resting in the awareness that all stories are our story, and every element in every story is an aspect of ourself. There's a story. There's a story about the great Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidic Judaism. When he was dying, he gathered all his Hasidim around him, and to each one of them he told the task that they would be undertaking, until finally he came to Rabbi Akiva, and he said to Rabbi Akiva, "You will become a storyteller. You will wander the realms of the earth, telling my stories." Now Rabbi Akiva's heart sank, because he thought to himself he would have to leave his family, his community. He would not be able to have a family of his own as a wandering storyteller. But obeying the Baal Shem Tov's orders, he became just that, a wandering storyteller. He went from place to place, telling stories of the life of the Baal Shem Tov. But then one day, Rabbi Akiva learned that there was a very rich merchant in the city of Cordova in Spain who gathered storytellers around him, inviting storytellers from all over the world to come and tell their stories. So Rabbi Akiva set out. But before the Baal Shem Tov made his demise and told Rabbi Akiva that he would become that storyteller, he also told him that he would arrive at deliverance. So Rabbi Akiva went to Cordova and, sure enough, was invited by the very rich merchant to come and tell stories. And so the rich merchant gathered many of his friends around him and invited Rabbi Akiva to tell a story. But Rabbi Akiva found himself speechless, unable to recall even one story. And so he apologized profusely to the rich merchant, and the rich merchant said, Don't worry, perhaps you're a little tired. Tomorrow we'll gather again to listen to your stories." But the next day came and people gathered, and still again Rabbi Akiva could not recall not even one anecdote to be told. And so he apologized again. And again the rich merchant said, "Don't worry, rest some more, and perhaps there will be a story to be told." But there was not. Rabbi Akiva could not bring one story or anecdote to mind. So, apologizing to the rich merchant, he said, "I must take my leave of you." Well, the rich merchant insisted on giving him a bag of gold and putting him in a very well capricious wagon, carriage, to go on his way. And with reluctance, Rabbi Akiva accepted these gifts. But then, as the carriage was rolling along, suddenly, Rabbi Akiva remembered a story. So he said to the carriage driver, "Turn around, turn around." And so they turned back, and when they came to the rich merchant's house, Rabbi Akiva rushed in and said, I remember a story, I remember a story. Oh, said the rich merchant, you must be tired. Go to rest and then tomorrow you can tell me. No. I must tell you the story now while I remember it. And so Rabbi Akiva told a story of the occasion when the Baal Shem Tov had come to him and said, come, we have a task to undertake. So, getting in the Baal Shem Tov's carriage, in an instant they found themselves in a far distant city. And the carriage came to rest in a small enclave where all of the houses that were there had their shutters closed. It seemed that no one was coming forth, and when they went to a door and knocked on the door and were reluctantly greeted by the Jewish people who were there, they hurriedly brought them into the house, closing the door behind them. And as Rabbi Akiva related, the Baal Shem Tov asked those people, why are they so afraid? And they said, oh, it is Easter time in this place. And at that time, the Christian people take out their hate and vengeance on us Jewish people. So we remain indoors. But the Baal Shem Tov went over to the windows, and he flung open the windows so that one could look out. And looking out, they could see down in a town square that people were gathered. And the Baal Shem Tov turned to Rabbi Akiva and he said, go to the town square where the bishop of the faith of this city is giving a speech to the people, riling them up, his hate and vitriolic against the Jewish people. Tell him to come here. So Rabbi Akiva related that with very great fear and trepidation, he did what the Baal Shem Tov told him. And when he went to the town square, he approached the bishop, went up to him and whispered in his ear that the Baal Shem Tov wanted to see him. And the bishop told Rabbi Akiva that yes, he would come. But when Rabbi Akiva went back to the Baal Shem Tov and told him that the bishop said he would come, the Baal Shem Tov said, go and tell him to come now. And so with great fear again and trepidation, Rabbi Akiva went off and said what had been related to the bishop, who hurriedly lifted up his robes and came into the presence of the Baal Shem Tov. Now no one knew. Rabbi Akiva did not overhear the conversation that took place between the bishop and the Baal Shem Tov for the hours that they were together. But that really was the end of the story to be told by Rabbi Akiva to the rich merchant. But when he looked at the rich merchant, tears were flowing down his face. And he said to Rabbi Akiva, that man was me. After our meeting, I could no longer be true to the faith that I had adopted because I was born Jewish and changed my ways to become a Christian and began to hate my origins, my born faith. These last 3 days I have done battle with myself, and only now is it done. This is why you have recalled the story, my story. And Rabbi Akiva said to the merchant, what did the Baal Shem Tov say to you? And the merchant relayed what the Baal Shem Tov had said. When someone comes and tells you your story, it will be done. After this, the rich merchant invited Rabbi Akiva to stay with him, to share the stories amongst those that he would gather, standing out in his true self. And this Rabbi Akiva did, resting there in that place. In this story, we can say that there are 3 deaths. The death of God, or the representation of God in the person of the Baal Shem Tov. The death of the conflict between the Jewish and the Christian aspects of the merchant, and the death of the task, the fulfillment of the job that was given. Three deaths. What does this very profound story tell us?